been a little bit of overhype when it comes to these new Arabian fragrance releases. Some of these have been magic and others have been duds. But if you were to check the internet, they've all been fire, and I have some opinions about which one of these are actually worth the money. These Arabian fragrance houses have been building out their collections, giving us flankers to some of their most popular fragrances like Angham and Nebras, and we have been collectively excited but also skeptical. I've been testing them down because of course I have been. I'm weak for these Arabian fragrances, and I have opinions. I have the originals, I'm testing them against each other, and I'm bringing you the tea about which ones of these are worth your money, my money, anybody's money. And if that sounds like something you're interested in, then stick around and let's get into it.
If it's real, we can build, hold it down for ya. I can tell with something I gon' get what's meant for ya.
Hi, I'm Jeanique, and I love an affordable fragrance because I love to save money on perfume because I want to smell nice, but I don't want to go broke. That's basically what I'm saying. And these Arabian fragrance houses looking at you, Lattafa, keep dropping fragrances all willy-nilly, and how can we keep up with them? So I really just focused on the one from lines I know I already liked. I picked up the new Angham fragrance, the new Nebras fragrance, Ana Abiyedh, Club de Nuit, and the new Lattafa Fire On Ice, which is supposed to be a riff on camera. I will be the judge. I'm not saying I'm a camera expert, but basically. So we're going to talk about all of them. Now, if you love a fragrance video, welcome. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already. But if you have subscribed already, thank you. I really appreciate it. Now, let me get into these fragrances because I have some opinions. Looking at you, second song. We're going to talk about all of them. Quick shout out to one of my favorite perfume friends out here, Nisia, who put me on game to some of these fragrances that I'll be talking about in this video. She has great taste in fragrances. Thank you, Nisia. I appreciate you. Sometimes I want to smell understated without smelling too basic. Pretty, but with a little bit of attitude. And that's what I get from Ana Abiyedh Scarlet from Lattafa. Now, this is the new release in the Ana Abiyedh line. This really fruity, floral line of fragrances from the brand that read almost every day with a little bit of extra spice and a little bit of extra something, something. Now, the Scarlet fragrance in this line is a rose fragrance that mixes in a little bit of pepper and cherry and a little bit of body to it. So it feels like the transitional scent from daytime, from work time into evening. It feels like that sort of middle piece of the day where you're going from serious to fun time, right? It's really pretty, it's really approachable, it feels incredibly wearable. Now, how does it compare to the other fragrances in the Ana Abiyedh line? It's in line with those fragrances, even if it's not a major departure. So Ana Abiyedh Rouge, or at least the original version of it, because I'm just realizing they must have reformulated because I just smelled the new one that somebody bought in 2025 and it's completely different from the one I bought like 3 years ago. Let's talk about it. So Ana Abiyedh Rouge is a Baccarat Rouge 540 dupe, and it's like the feminine take on that line by adding in some stone fruit sweetness and a little bit more floral to that aromatic, really approachable BR 540. Really, I don't know, nice. I love BR 540. I will link my ranking video for all the dupes that I had tried up to that point for that fragrance and which ones were my favorite. I'll link that video if you're interested. But Ana Abiyedh Rouge has always been one of my favorite BR 540 dupes because it adds a little bit more sweetness and a little bit more floral to smell even more feminine, which I really appreciated. Now, I went ahead and tried the new Ana Abiyedh Rouge. They did not tell us it was new. It's so much sweeter, y'all. It is so much sweeter. The stone fruit is almost candied and ratcheted up. It still smells like BR 540, but a far younger version of the Ana Abiyedh Rouge that I have in my collection. So I wanted to flag that for y'all, that, you know, if you think you're getting the version that I described in my video, that version doesn't seem to exist anymore. What we have now is a far sweeter, more gourmand version of Ana Abiyedh Rouge out here in these streets. That's a little bit of a tangent because this video was not about that fragrance specifically, but it was about Scarlet and how much I really enjoyed that scent. I think it's a good addition to that line of fragrances. If you like a fruity floral rose fragrance with a little bit of cherry, a little bit of body, but it doesn't feel too heavy, nighttime, or, you know, sexy. It's giving transition scent to go get drinks with your coworkers. Now let's talk about Armav's Club de Nuit Maleka, and this is a new release in that line of fragrances. Now y'all know I stay talking about Imperial in the white bottle because it is the Delina dupe of my dreams. I love that shit. It's so amazing. And they also have Club de Nuit Parfum, which is a dupe of Coco Mademoiselle from Chanel. Also fire if you like a cheaper fragrance that feels like boss bitch vibes. Now, Club de Nuit Maleka, yeah, it has me in a chokehold. I did not think I would fall for this fragrance as much as I did. But let me clear something up for you. They say it's a very good girl dupe. Stop it. Stop it with the lies. Stop it with the lies. It is not a dupe of that fragrance at all, at all, at all. The vibes are completely different. There's something about Very Good Girl that feels a little mature to me. I have a little mini of it in my collection and I dab it every now and then when I want to feel a little serious. It's like when I wear Libre, the original. I want to feel a little serious. It feels grown to me and I like that. Maleka is something else. It's iris, so it's airy and powdery. It feels ethereal to me. I feel like, I don't know, like a lady, and I feel a little magical. I feel a little unbothered when I wear that fragrance. It is so incredibly beautiful to me. It does not I usually love a fragrance that screams. Really intense, jammy, overpowering fragrances make me feel really powerful and make me feel like I'm in my element. And I often gravitate to those scent profiles like Very Good Girl. That's the kind of fragrance I would go for in a heartbeat if I was looking for that power. This fragrance is not about power. It is about precision. It is about just making you feel like you're in your feminine aura. Like that is the energy of that fragrance. It felt really subtle, but also with a lot of presence. Like it just felt really sophisticated to me. It's the kind of fragrance I would wear if I'm wearing all white and I just want my chair pulled out for me and just drink a glass of white wine and just whisper. I can't even shout, y'all. That's the kind of fragrance I'd be wearing if I was wearing Maleka. I was so very impressed with that one and I want it. It's full bottle worthy for me personally. I want it. Now let's talk about a fragrance that pissed me off. Not because of the fragrance itself, that's part of it. It's a big part of it actually, but also the reviews. I don't understand what's happening. I don't know if this fragrance just turns on my skin in a way that like I did not expect, or the internet is gaslighting the fuck out of all of us, telling us this fragrance smells good, but it does not smell good. It does not smell good. It does not smell horrible, but it does not smell that good. Let's talk about it. It's called Second Song. Who likes this fragrance? If you like this fragrance and you think it's top tier and it lives up to the Angham name, put it on the comment section because we need to have a conversation. What is happening here? Y'all, what is happening here? Now, I'm not saying it's the nastiest thing I've smelled. I've smelled nastier. But everybody keeps telling me it's a 9 out of 10, a 10 out of 10, it's top tier, it's top tier. It's not top tier. It's a 6, maybe a 6.5 out of 10. It's mid as fuck if I've ever seen a mid-ass fragrance. What is going on here? Number one, Lattafa, why did you put this weird, why do you put this fragrance, this pear blossom fragrance with the Angham name? Now here's the thing, I love Angham. I talk about it constantly. It's beautiful. I did a video on my most worn fragrances of 2025. You know what was in there? Angham. I'm an expert on Angham and the fragrance it is duping, Burberry Goddess. I'm also I'm a freak about that fragrance as well. I love vanillas. Vanillas is my favorite note. And you stop rambling. Vanillas is my favorite note. I love me a vanilla fragrance. And I was so excited when they said they were giving us a new Angham. I expected vanilla, and if it wasn't giving me vanilla, then maybe another Burberry fragrance dupe of some kind. I had expectations going into this. And what do they give us? Pear blossom, peony. It is a dupe of My Devotion from Dolce & Gabbana. Now, this right here is a marketing ploy if I've ever fucking seen one, and I do not appreciate it. Lattafa, hear me out. Y'all needed to create a different line for this because this does not belong in the Angham line. Unless y'all plan to pivot and go off the cliff with it, why is this here? Why is a vanilla fragrance? It does not make any sense. Now, what does this fragrance smell like? It smells a little like pickle juice. No. It smells like pear. It smells a little bit like peach. Pear blossom. Since like a decent amount of florals in here. But there's a way that it smells that it almost heads into BO territory. It doesn't actually head there. It almost like hints at it. And every now and then you get a whiff and you think, but it's fine. It's fine. It is a fine fragrance. So color me confused when I went to the internet and every single review told me it was fire. Did y'all smell this fragrance? I don't think it's just on me because I smelled it on other people. It didn't smell good on them like that anyway. It didn't smell good on them either. It didn't smell good on me. It didn't smell good on them. It didn't smell good on paper. It didn't smell good anywhere. Where are you getting these experiences from? And were you sleeping? Was it a dream? Because absolutely fucking not. Absolutely fucking not. I wanted to like this. I need to stop rambling because I'm just so confused. If you love this fragrance, don't. Because if you love this fragrance, don't tell me what it smells like on you, because the reviews feel like they are trying to gaslight me to hell and back to tell me this fragrance is top tier, and there ain't no fucking way. There ain't no way. Sometimes I can see it. There's an oud fragrance, it's just not for me, but I can get how other people would love it. But this one is not that. This is a scent profile that I'm good at, that I like, that I enjoy. And this fragrance is not even very good. It's aight. It's aight with a 4.32 rating on the internet. It's aight. What is going on? We are going through a collective delusion about this fragrance, and I need it to stop. ASAP. Stop it. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about... I need to take a minute. I'm tired. Now let's move on to Fire on Ice. No, that was a winner. That right there. Lattafa's Fire on Ice. What is that fragrance? It is a riff on the new Angel Share parody perfume. I put it up on the screen. There's a new Angel Share that is boozier, richer, and it feels a little bit darker and more mysterious and richer. And Lattafa has gone out and created this dupe of that fragrance called Fire on Ice. Now, first up, when Lattafa released Camera, it was supposed to be a kind of dupe, of Angel Share, the original, without the booziness. And I love both of them. I own both of them. I cape for both of them. But by the time we get Camera Kawa and the other fragrances in the Camera line, Lattafa had pivoted. Camera blew up for them, and they went ahead and created their own signature original fragrances using the Camera name that pivoted off of that scent profile and going in different directions. Instead of using the Camera line to dupe other people's shit, they created their own. And what's funny is that other Arabian brands went out and duped Camera and the Camera line, which I think is kind of hilarious, right? So it was interesting to me that when they decided to dupe the other Angel Share fragrance, they did not put it back in the Camera line because that's become something else at this point. They went ahead and created something new. This right here is Fire on Ice, right? And it is a lovely... Yes, I have a bottle already. I do. I told you I loved Camera, right? I don't really always love this scent profile. It's spicy. Maybe I just stop saying that at this point. It's basically a mix of gourmand elements, very sweet, yummy, just sweetness, some fruit like raspberry, a lot of booze. This has so much booze flowing through it, and some warm spices like cinnamon, some woodiness. What we get is something that feels really rich, dark, opulent. It feels like a speakeasy joint in the middle of Paris, right? You have to go underground to get it. It feels very sexy and slinky and dark and unapologetic. And I think it's a really good, fantastic fragrance. This is something I would gift to a sexy ass man. I would wear it, yeah. But on men, this is even better. There's something about the body chemistry and the testosterone mixed with this fragrance that just reads really just... He gonna be toxic. That's how it reads. He gonna be a problem. He gonna be trouble. That's the vibe. Every time I put it on, I'm like, I wanna choke myself with this fragrance. Nebras Elixir, y'all. Nebras Elixir is nice. It is, okay. When I first tried that fragrance, I thought, oh yeah, it's pretty. It's like a lighter version. You hear Nebras Elixir and you expect it to be a heavier, thicker, denser, maybe spicier version of the original Nebras, which is one of my faves. It was just on my perfume tray. I will link my perfume tray video. It was on there because I was wearing it on the month of February, right? But that's not the direction they went. They went more sponge sugar, so it feels airier, but also more encapsulating. They went sweeter with it. They just made it feel bigger somehow, if not denser, right? And the sweetness is just really addictive and beautiful. And the dry down is not how you would expect it. I expected a very thin, sweet dry down, but that's not it. It's almost floral and ambroxan in the dry down, making it feel not quite as gourmand as most of the ride of the fragrance, which I think is a novel finish to a fragrance that feels like it belongs in the kitchen. Let's talk about this fragrance, right? It's whipped cream and butter. It's sugar, spun sugar. There is vanilla in here. There's some spice in here that's adding a little bit of dimension to the fragrance, and it feels incredibly light on the skin. This is a summer vanilla. If I would say Nebras was the fragrance I was wearing in February in Canada in the cold, Nebras Elixir is the one I pull out in April when things start to warm up and I want something just as delicious, but not quite as heavy. It is beautiful. I love that they went in a far sweeter direction, a far airier direction. There's some heliotrope. Now, heliotrope as a purple floral feels incredibly powdery, almost baby powder if you do it in a floral fragrance. But when you add it to a gourmand, it can feel almost like, you know, the powder outside of a marshmallow, that sort of like powdered sugar kind of feel. It feels like the powderiness isn't just baby powder now, it's powdered sugar and it's everywhere. I'm covered in it. The more I wore it, the more I was just gagged, because the first time I tried it, I thought, oh, this is nice. I think I still prefer the original. And I feel like it's possible I like this more. How is that possible? I don't know if it's the novelty of just wearing it consistently for the last couple of weeks or not. Y'all, I'm putting y'all on game. I'm putting, as much as I talk shit about second song, because overhyped, obviously. Nebras Elixir is not overhyped. The people were right. The people were right. It is a fantastic fragrance, and I would be lucky to add it to my collection. So it is moved up to the top of my Arabian perfume hit list. The top. It's at the top now. Not every new release is going to hit, but when a few of them do, I really do appreciate having some affordable options out there that I can pick up, add to my collection, especially as seasons change and I'm looking for different scent profiles. And I found some gems here and some fails, but that's the point of testing, y'all, to figure out what's full bottle worthy and not, because I would have been the person to blind buy second song just because I'm so weak for the Angham line, only to want to fight the bottle, the perfumer, and the whole internet for convincing me it was so fire. I'm glad I got a chance to test it down and realize that whatever is in that bottle is not for me, above me, and not belonging in my collection personally. Absolutely fucking not. But some of these are full bottle worthy, and I'm glad I got the chance to try them at all. I do have an unboxing coming though, but it's a mix of random things I've been picking up or getting gifted from Christmas days to now. It's a mix of affordable fragrances as well as niche ones, and I'll do that unboxing soon. So if you love an unboxing video, don't forget to subscribe, because you want to be alerted when I start talking about those perfumes, because it's a fair few of them. I told you I had some Michelle Germain fragrances coming, right? Well, they came and I want to talk about them. Again, I'm Jeanique, and I admit that I love talking shit about fragrances that disappoint me, but I love finding gems even more than that. And if I find a gem, I'll bring you the tea and the shit talking as well. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.
Phases, I wish